page are you?
This is page 30 and 30, or sorry, 29 and 30, or sorry, 30 and 31, sorry.
30 and 31.
Give that
I sound like a figure guy, 29 or 30, no, wait.
Okay, so yeah, this is my department, and the first thing I just want to point out, because it seems to be some kind of a question, is like, why do you see two personal service line items? Why do you see the benefits 2 times? The first portion is the budget and finance department, and the other one is purchasing, correct?
Okay. What page are you on? Sorry, Jason.
Page 30 and 31.
Okay.
So, I mean, I got to do a better job maybe just denoting it on this overview, but that's where you see, you know, is that one part is budget and finance, one part is the purchasing, which is the same department of budget and finance.
Yeah. So I have one quick question about the copier and the lease.
Correct. Yes.
What is the? I guess are you starting to put those in individual departments, or how is that?
What actually what's going on there is the chairman is referring to is you see a $26,000 reduction in that item. What that is actually being reallocated to a debt service because the new leases that were approved were capital leases. So as such, we had to treat them as like we own it at the end of the 5-year period. So we had to treat those as capital items, and we have to pay. We treat them as debt service instead of an operating lease. Where in the past they were operating leases, so that's why they were put into my department. So my department was in charge of paying the lease payments and the maintenance costs on all the copiers. We did allocate some to some other sources like CDBG, water and sewer, but the main of the general fund departments were coming out of my department. So now that it's a debt service, because it's capital nature, we had to put that down into a debt service department, which is at the end of the income statement. So basically what you will see is you'll see a reduction of $26,000 on my department, but in addition $26,000 to the debt service area.
Okay.
So that's the main difference there, is that it's just an accounting principle. You can't, when we had, with the chart accounts for Michigan, when you have a debt service, you have to account for in the debt service department. So that's why you see a change there. And yes, we do have the ability, with the new copiers, we do have the ability to track those by departments, but at this point in time, we're not allocating to those departments. Like,
Okay, the copy.
Yeah, so if you want to say like council, because you know council has a budget, there's no copier expense in council. It's all out of this line item.
That's what I figured.
But that only accounts for the lease. The maintenance is still coming out of my department though. You still see an amount in there. That's the maintenance, the per take cost. That's still coming out of my department because we don't allocate that right now. But the lease cost is now coming out of debt service. Obviously when you have copiers, you have 2 costs. You have the cost of the copier and then the cost of the maintenance, which is a per take cost. So the per take cost is still remaining in my department. So basically, no change to the 17-18 projected, and then really the only other changes we have is just some salary increases, which were the ones that I presented to the mayor a month ago or so that he just approved. So you see that in there, and then a couple increases to the related insurances, health insurance.
So, under your personal service contract, do you project raises throughout the year?
I'm actually TGM.
Okay, but I'm talking about your department.
My department, if you guys look at that.
So you just gave your people raises or whatever, that's built into here. But like, do you project, like in 2018, I'm going to give them another bump?
No.
And that's not factored in? Okay.
No.
And no department does that, correct?
Well,
that you're aware of?
There's departments who, like for example, I think the clerk's department has a bump for their TGM.
Okay.
So they're in there,
okay.
and the city alluded to it when she talked about her department. Right. Not much, but they're in.
Yeah, but that raises in the budget. But do you put in your budget another raise possibly? Okay, I guess that's what I'm trying to get. Yeah, yeah. I guess that would fall under each department, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So there's so in 2 different departments. So the budget and finance, there's 4 full-time employees. Is that correct?
That is correct. Let me just verify that real quick. Yes.
CFO, assistant director, accountant, appointed clerk, which is 1128 employees.
Correct.
Okay. And then in purchasing, there's 2 TGM full-time employees.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the water accountant, but the water accountant is TGM, but is booked to the water department.
That's half.
Correct.
You're still in TGM, you think?
That's correct.
Yeah. Right.
Surprise.
Surprise.
So that, yeah, other than that, and then if you have any questions on our contractual services, that's mainly Plant Moran's cost for the audit. Copier lease, you guys do talk about what those are. See, another large line item is the general office supplies. If you guys have been into my office or my suite, we do keep kind of a general stock of office supplies in a cabinet.
They hoard all the stuff.
Yeah, that's where our departments come and take.
I was just gonna say other departments take out of it, all right, yeah.
So that's what mainly is on my department, is those items there. The commission fees is related to the TBA, their commission fees,
Okay.
we get paid a commission fee for their meetings, so that comes out of my department. Again, contractuals, the Plant Moran audits.
What's compensated absences?
Well, what compensated absences is when you cash out time off. So if you have a vacation that depends on the bargaining unit, but you can cash it out instead of using it,
Right.
that expense goes to compensated absences, and it's a very hard number to budget, especially in a larger department. When someone retires, it can be large. If you notice, we'll talk about the treasurer's office when we get to it, you'll notice that there's
Oh, yeah, because
because there was a retirement there, and that was like a $30,000.
The police department's a good one.
Police department, fire department are usually the higher
Those are the
ones
big
for compensated absences, but
Are they limited on how many days that they can collect that compensation for?
there are limits, annually, things like that. I just don't have all on the top of my head. It'd be a good question for HR, if you ever have that question, hey, can you give us with the limits? I'm sure they have like a summary that they have that talks about it per collective bargaining agreement.
Right, because they can only carry over so much.
Well, 'cause
It all
I
depends
know
on
in the
what,
schools, you can only, yeah,
Yeah.
you've got
It
like
all depends on what
174 sick
CBA
days, you
you're
can
on.
only collect so much.
Yeah,
Otherwise you have to use them up.
TGM, which is the collective bargaining agreement, I'm aware of, I know it is they have a bonus week of 40 hours that they can cash out, and that's the only thing they can cash out. But when we do leave in any reason or capacity, we get a percentage of our sick bank.
Percentage, okay.
Yes.
That's all right.
I think the other two is 2 weeks.
I'm not exactly sure what other 2017, but, you know, I know that's a public safety, though, they do have a lot more than that, so. So I call it like a hybrid use or lose for, those collective bargaining agreements. That's it. Any other questions?
Any other questions for Jason? All right, thank you, Jason.
Thank you.